This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today the big Spiel Des Jahres nominees were announced. For those that don't know, Spiel Des Jahres is basically Game of the Year in Germany. It is known widely as probably the most prestigious board game awards. Thanks of big pillars of the world of board gaming, of Carcassonne and Ticket to Ride and things like that. These are those sort of family style games. Now they do other awards for sort of the gamer connoisseurs games and kids games, but in this video I'm just going to be talking about the Spiel Des Jahres nominees, the 3 of them for the 2018. Now I do a series of reviews called Allegro reviews where I give you a 1-minute quick snapshot overview of how a game works and then a 1-minute final thoughts. Now, so what I'm going to do for the 3 Spiel Des Jahres nominees, I'm going to just play right now, boom, right in a row, all 3 1-minute overviews, because I bet you there's at least one of these that you haven't heard of, because one of them really isn't quite out yet much at all in many parts of the world. So I'm guessing that you're going to watch at least one of these. If you know everything about all 3 of these, you can just skip to the final thoughts. Otherwise, look for the ones that you don't know about, and then I'll commentate on these after this as to what I think about it. So let's take a look. Azul is an abstract strategy game for 2 to 4 players where every player will have their own board that they're building these beautiful tiles on. On your turn, you'll either be drafting all the tiles from the same type from a factory, pushing the rest to the center, and adding those to your board, or you'll be taking all the tiles from the center of one type. At the end of the round, you'll be placing finished rows onto the board to build a beautiful mosaic. All additional tiles get removed from the game, and if you've gotten too many, you'll be getting minus points. And this continues until one player has finished a horizontal row, and you'll get bonuses for having 5 of the same tile, also for having horizontal rows completed, and for also having columns completed. There's also a variant where you can place tiles in any of the places as long as there's not more than one of the same tile type in the same column. The Mind is a cooperative game for 2 to 4 players where you're trying to get through a certain amount of levels depending on how many players are there, and you'll have a certain amount of lives in order to get that done. Each player is given 1 card for whichever level they're on, so in level 1 everyone gets 1 card and you're trying to play these in ascending order. But the trick is, you can't talk. You're only using body language by how tense and how close you want to be to the table and how fast you want to play the card, and you're trying to figure it out with each other. But watch out, because if you play a card out of order, you'll lose one of your precious lives, and if you lose all the lives, you've lost the game. As you go up to the different levels, you'll get more cards. For instance, level 2, everyone will have 2 cards. You also can use a star, which means you can raise your hand, and if everyone does it, you can get rid of your lowest card face up. And some levels even get you a life back if you complete it. And you're trying to finish a certain amount of levels depending on the amount of players, and if you finish that, you can go into extreme mode where all the cards are played face down, and for every error you've made after you flip them up, you would lose a life. It's extreme. Luxor is a family game for 2 to 4 players where you'll be moving your adventurers all around the tunnels trying to get to the end, picking up artifacts on the way. You'll be moving the adventure of your choice to other tiles and trying to get the right amount of adventures to collect points now and to collect points later for sets. Because the more sets you have of these 3 different types of artifacts, the more points you'll get at the end of the game. But you balance that with racing, trying to get to the end, paying a key to get in, and getting sarcophagus with points, and getting points for the furthest layers that you've got throughout the game. And it's driven by a cool hand management technique where you have to choose one of the end cards to move your adventure, and then you draw a card which moves this to the middle. So you're planning your turn now, but also looking forward to which cards you could possibly use in future turns. But there's also ways to get more powerful cards, which give you more options throughout the game. Other tiles, when gotten, will reveal other tiles, which will become different things like maybe even secret passages to get to different parts of the board. So it's all about balancing the hand management for moving now and future turns, and balancing racing to the end for big points or hanging back and getting the sets that you need. All right, well, there are the 3 overviews for the Spiel des Jahres in my 1-minute sort of Allegro format. If you like that format, I've placed a link in the description of this video where you can see a sortable table of all of the Allegro reviews I've done. Those are mainly for people to spend 2 minutes to see, does this game warrant me to spend more time researching and watching maybe my full review for it. Now, so from the 3 of them, I am willing to bet that most of you had not heard of or were not that familiar with the gameplay for Luxor, and that's because I had barely just gotten this thing a couple of weeks ago and I had played it, and actually my review was already queued to go out later this week, but I brought it in today as the nominees because it got nominated, and so it's one of those that people didn't hear about. So let's go through sort of each of these and see what I think about this when I saw the nominations. First of all, I saw Azul, and it was no surprise to me. I definitely thought this was going to be on that list. It has been highly proclaimed by many people. People love this game. It was sold out for the longest time, and I definitely see it fits that sort of Spiel des Jahres thing where it's like, it's pretty easy to teach, but yet there's a lot of engagement. So that one was sort of a no-brainer to me. And so that was like, yeah, of course Azul's there. The next one was kind of a no-brainer to me, The Mind. And again, many people probably have not played this yet. If you're watching this, maybe you've heard of it, maybe you know about it. It hasn't quite gotten North American distribution yet. Pandasaurus is bringing that over. I think they're bringing some copies over for Origins and then going to retail a little bit after that. So probably end of June-ish, maybe July-ish is going to be in retail in North America. And The Mind I've reviewed. And by the way, all of the 3 games here I've reviewed, and I've placed in the links in the description of this video so you can see those in more detail. But the Mind was one of those games where when I played it for the first time, just at GAMA a couple months ago, thanks to Eric Martin at Board Game Geek for showing me this, I fell in love with this game. I ended up buying a ton of copies from overseas just because I wanted to review it quickly because I was so excited about it. And in that video, I said, you know what? Eric Martin had mentioned he thought this was going to be Spiel des Jahres nominee. And as soon as he said that, I said, absolutely agree with you. I would be shocked if it wasn't a Spiel des Jahres nominee. So for me, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, I knew it was going to be there. I had a very good feeling it was, and it is. And so now we move on to Luxor, which, again, I just put that review up today because I thought that most people probably had not heard of this or knew a lot about it. And that's because it's not really quite out yet in North America. And I just got my copy a couple weeks ago, and I was able to just do my review on that just now. So, but that one, for me, now, when I played this, I liked it, and I thought, yes, this is absolutely a solid game, and Rudiger Dorn is one of my favorite designers, and this is a Rudiger Dorn game, you know, and he's done things that were nominated for Spiel des Jahres, you know, Karuba and, you know, Las Vegas, and so another big name designer, one of my favorites. And so from that standpoint, it doesn't surprise me. But from the gameplay itself, again, the review, the description of this in this video has a link to my full review for that went live the same day as this video, where I can show you even more in depth how the game works and what I liked and didn't like about the game. But overall, the game is a good, solid game. You know, when I played it, I'm like, okay, this is definitely a good, solid family game. I like the decisions and all that. And for me, it was like a solid 7. But for me, this was the one I was really surprised to see on this list. Now, Spiel des Jahres also typically does like a recommendation where other than the 3 nominees, they recommend like 4 or 5 other games. And one of the ones on that recommended list was the one I thought was going to be the 3rd one. And that was Majesty for the Realm. This was designed by Marc-Andre, the same one who did Splendor a couple years ago got nominated. And I thought Majesty for the Realm was going to be the 3rd nominee here. But personally, I picked 2 of the 3, and the 3rd one was recommended. I think that's a pretty good guess there. So overall, how do I compare and contrast all these? Which one do I think is going to win? Which one do I really want to win? Well, and usually Spiel des Jahres typically has one that nobody knows about and is like, oh wow, how did that one get there? And so Luxor for me is that one. It's the one that sort of came out of left field. I wasn't expecting it there. I had recently played it. I was ready to review it, and then this went live today, and I'm like, oh wow. That's the one that still to me feels like it's not quite up to speed with the others. I think it's the one that I don't think that one will win. And for the other 2, Azul is the one my head says, absolutely, this is going to be a shoe, and this thing's just going to win just because of the pure popularity of it. Which, by the way, Azul's a game, if you watch my review that's linked below, I liked it. I thought it was cool, but I actually thought Sagrada did some similar things of drafting and the different things. I thought it was more replayable. I thought it was, for me, I liked Sagrada better than Azul. I thought that should have been there, but I know that people love Azul, and I tend to, sounds like I'm in the minority in this, but in my head, I'm certain if I had a bet, then I'm going to bet that Azul's going to win this Spiel des Jahres. And then we come to the middle one there, The Mind. Now, this is the one that I want to win. I'm not sure it will win. I think Azul will, but the one I really, truly, my heart want to win is The Mind because it's the one I like the most. It's the one that I've seen go over great with both gaming groups and non-gaming groups. I played this game in line with non-gamers standing to get into a comedy show a couple weeks ago. You know, it's like this game, not that it's made to be played like that, but we made it work because it's fun. And I've played it with a lot of non-gamers, and it's very, very interactive. And it's one of those games that's very different, and you're probably going to either love it or hate it. But I want that one to win because that's my favorite. So there you go. I'm predicting Azul winning. I want the mine winning. And I'm not so sure that Luxor really belongs there. I think Majesty for the Realm should have been the third nominee. And if it was, I still would have been saying the same thing. I would have said Azul's going to win. You know, the mine I want to win, and Realm probably won't get picked. But overall, there's my Spiel Des Jahres predictions and my whole thinking about that. This has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.